Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum. Straight talk about you and your money. Now from the BizTalk studios, here is Gary Kaltbaum.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It's Friday, May 17th, 2024. And as usual, we have a lot to cover. Serious talk on everything that affects you. And there is a ton. And these days, we ain't futzing around. We mean business as we head into the election to talk about policy, personality, and the things that can affect the future going forward. And as we state all the time and say it again, we will not pull any punches on anybody. We curry no favor. We have no bias, agenda, or ulterior motive except for three words: we the people. And that comes to rules, regulations, fees, fines, mandates, taxes, control, government reach. And why does that have anything to do with the markets? It has everything to do with the markets. Do you know what has to do with the markets right now? We're just letting you know. And we don't know how it's going to play out, but housing prices on high are plunging. Inventories picking up markedly in many areas. And what happened there? Well, because of one man and his moves, we ended up with lots of distortions that have to be what we call wrung out. W-R-U-N-G. All distortions get wrung out. That's your government at work, printing to $9 trillion, screwing you as a saver, causing inflation, enabling people, God bless you all that did it, to refinance their mortgages down to 3% or less, or around 3%, buying homes at 3% mortgages, but then it went to 7%. Because once they stopped printing money, the natural order of interest rates occurred. And what ended up happening was prices went up because nobody wants to sell. They're forced up. But eventually there's something called affordability where people just can't afford. And by the way, we're talking not just on the low end, but on the high end. I must tell you, I see, as I go on Zillow and these other places, I see people putting up homes for $3 million that were $1.5 million 3 years ago. They ain't getting it. And you know what I'm seeing a lot of? Those 3 million staying up for 120 days, nothing happens, they're dropping to 2.7. Nothing happens, dropping to 2.4. Nothing. You catching my drift? Distortions, they all play out. And all you got to do to see inventory, go on Zillow, put in a city, and look at the map. It shows up on a map how many homes. And then if you want to look at homes above 500 or a certain whatever, you can see. I forgot where it was, about Airbnbs that everybody's selling at the same time and prices are crashing. I forgot which city that was. But that's part of the distortion. One man. And I still don't understand how we got the position, how the whole entity got into a position where you can print $9 trillion with no accountability. Well, they did. And then, of course, he had to play catch up on inflation, which he did. After saying it was transitory, he gets lauded like he comes out and says, oh, we've done this, we've done that, we've done this with the economy. They don't create... Really, not the 150 million of us that go to work every day. One man moving little interest rates up or down. And by the way, it's the Fed funds rate. Go look it up. It's what banks do between each other. And then, as you know, what I do every day is I read a lot and I look at certain videos. There's certain things I don't watch. What I ask you to do is go watch, there's a video between some people in the house. Go watch it. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Well, I'm going to name names. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Texas Democrat by the name of Jasmine Crockett. I believe Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, that Marxist, got involved. Now, I may state for the record, we have this motto: we can't stand any of these people, none of them. Just watch it. With no bias, no agenda, no ulterior motive, just watch it. And you want to know how we get to $35 trillion of debt? Just watch some of the people we've been electing. Not to mention some other folks. So that's what this show's about, but firstly is about the markets, and our job is to guide, and it's not easy. Just so you know, it's not easy. I do want to let you know at the close they were determined today, and they did it in the last 10 seconds. The Dow closed above 40,000, 40,003. Meaningful and not at all. How's that? It is a big round number. It will be celebrated. Remember, the Dow is just 30 stocks, and you can have some overweightness. You can have the lowest priced 10 Dow stocks go to zero, and the other 20 go up 5%, and the Dow would be up. That's how screwed up the Dow is. That a United Health would be, let's see, the lowest price right now looks to be Intel. Intel's the lowest priced Dow stock. United Health is about 17 times the movement of the Dow than Intel. Whatever. So with the close today, the Dow finished at 40,003. The S&P was only up 6. NASDAQ was down 12. NASDAQ 100 down 11. And there was some semiconductors that were weak. We'll explain that in a little bit. Transports were down 60. That remains weak. Of note, gold strong today. Gold stock strong. Silver strong. Of note, the sneaky, slow, big banks green today. Oils bounced, particularly the refiners bounced. Otherwise, insurance better. I can tell you Chubb, where Warren Buffett took a position in and was up pretty good yesterday. Up another 9 today. The market believes in Warren Buffett, though his Occidental Petroleum has pretty much done nothing, but he doesn't care. He owns a bazillion shares now, and let's see, the dividend on Occidental actually is only 1.3%. That's not that good. Usually he's buying dividend things in this 3 and 4%. Anyway, I digress. Occidental just really hasn't done anything since, boy oh boy. Do you know Occidental Petroleum is trading where it was in 2007? I didn't even realize that. But I never argue with Warren Buffett. 2016, he starts buying Apple, and he got made fun of because Apple was in a bear market at the time. I think it's up 7 or 8 fold. In fact, let me see. I think he started buying with the splits and everything around $25. It's $189 now. And had a good week this week. So never argue with Warren Buffett. He is top heavy on Apple, top heavy on Chevron now. I think not nearly as Apple, and now Chubb. That's where I used to have my home insurance. When I owned a home, I am renting right now, and I heard home insurance has been skyrocketing as of late. And I'm in the midst of looking at a home, and I'm thinking, how much are they going to charge for home insurance? Dang. My auto insurance, my health insurance, Obamacare, they said the premiums would go down. Yeah, that's what happened. I think my premiums are 4-fold since Obamacare, maybe 3-fold, 4-fold. I do know I'm getting older, so you get charged more, but man, oh man, they just keep 10%ing you like there's no tomorrow. With a very sweet note. We're here for you. We're charging you another 10%. You don't like it? Tough crap. Go find something else. I tried find something else one time. Couldn't get anything. Welcome to the world. Next. Trying to time my music. GameStop. Was down another 20% today. It was worse. I'll explain that next on Investor's Edge.
Hi, I'm Gary Kaltbaum, host of the nationally syndicated radio show Investor's Edge. We're not just handsome radio people. We manage investors' money for a living, specializing in fee-based discretionary money management. No big commissions, just a fee on the assets that's managed. We also provide a full range of personalized services, including retirement planning, fixed income, and educational needs, all to assist you in achieving your financial goals. Understanding not all individuals have the same needs, we'll carefully evaluate your personal goals to determine a proper investment strategy. If your current approach to investing is not getting you to where you would like to be, call us to make an appointment for a complimentary portfolio review. The number to call is 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. Investment advisory services offered through Kaltbaum Capital Management.
It's time to switch on the integrator units and get the brain cells working.
You're listening to
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Investor's Edge
The last bastion of quality programming.
with Gary Kaltbaum.
It doesn't get better than this.
So, GameStop. Downside guidance. Analysts had them for $1.5 billion. They're going to do 872 to 892. Net loss. Well, a net loss. What else? Trying to cash in on the move higher. GameStop's announced a mixed security shelf offering, which would be stocks and bonds. The stock closed today, and again, lessons, closed at $22.21, down 19.73%, actually hit $19.70 today. So let's do this all over again. And the reason we do it all over again is we just simply need to drive some things home. We need to drive some things home. Because there was probably a lot of money lost this week and hardly any money made off of a stock that at the start of the week was $17.46, but hit a high of the week for $64.83. So let me explain. First, what should be comical. A Twitter feed, X feed, called Roaring Kitty. We're not making this up. It is a person. His last name is Gill. And supposedly, I don't know the whole story, but he was the one who started off, was on the Reddit crowd, and got the GameStop thing going a long time ago. And I'm not even going to tell you what video he puts out, but the video had people believing, oh, it's woken up. And amazingly, the stock that closed at $17.46, by the way, started moving 5 days before, telling me there was some front running. And if I was the SEC, I'd be on this guy's arse right now and see whether he bought 5 days before, because that's when it started moving. But I digress. The next day, it closes. I got butterfingers. At 30.45 with a low of 24 something and a high of 38. And that was the day we came on the show and just said to you, please be careful. Don't be the last one in. We have no clue what happens tomorrow. We have no clue if it goes to 1,000 or goes to 0. But we do know one thing from precedent. They all go back to where they came from. Precedent. And this jackass on Twitter that has no name, one of the monikers, starts ripping me. I gave him one shot. I answered him kindly back, and then he tried ripping me again, and then went to some other idiot with a moniker. Hey, do you see what this guy said on radio? What is this, that? So I blocked him. I hardly block anybody on Twitter except for the racist, jackass, clown-type people. The next day, the stock opens at $64.83 from $30. And may I state for the record, because we have a running little thing here that we follow on Twitter and some other things, and they were in a lather. Here we go, 100, 150, 200. Are you in? Are you in? Are you in? I'm in, I'm in, I'm in, I'm in. Well, that day it had a low of 36. It closed at 48.75. If you bought on the open from 64.83, it closed at 48.75. That's $16 on 64. What is that? 20 some odd percent. The next day it hit 31 low, closed at 39 with a high of 42. So it went from 48 down to 39 at the close. Yesterday, it closed on the low at 27.59, today at 22. So last I looked, my rusty abacus said $64.83 from the open on Tuesday to the close today. You want to add that up? $64.83. I'm actually going to give you an exact number. $64.83 minus 22.21 equals, divided by 64.83 equals 65.74%. It is down from the Tuesday open when people were wetting their pants. Kids, I received contacts from people I don't even know. Again, should we be buying this? What do you think? You think it has? One person said, do you think it has a chance to run? And I'm pretty sure somebody asking that probably was already in. So we're just letting you know, from the open Tuesday, $65.74. Just be careful. AMC, the high on Tuesday, was $11.88. It closed at $4.40. 62.9% drop from the Tuesday opening. We had no idea it'd be so quick. We have no idea if they can make it run again. You got that? We don't have an idea. We're just letting you know, be careful with your freaking money. You should have seen what was going on online over all this. This is it again. The riches. I'm pretty much quoting some people. If you're not in, and then they were making fun of people that were like me, saying, careful, it's going to end badly eventually. And they use certain language I can't repeat on the show. So let me repeat again and finish up again. I have no clue about Monday. I have no clue about next week. I don't know if they run it again. I don't know if they keep sending it lower. Just keep in mind, AMC started at like $2.80. It's back to $4.40 right now. GameStop started on the move, actually was $11. They really started moving it the Friday before, and that's why I think this guy knew ahead of. But really, when it really got going, it was $17.46. It's $22 right now. I have no clue. I just know when the music stops, what's going to end up happening. Why? Because 100% of the time, it is what happens. And both these companies now trying to do a secondary, which is a smart move, but they didn't have really, I don't think they've gotten them done. And they certainly didn't get them done at the high prices. And I wouldn't have blamed them if they did. Just watch yourself. Up next, we'll put a bow tie on it. Much more. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
Listening to
America is talking.
Investor's Edge.
He's got to be pleased with that. The crowd is just on its feet here. He's a Cinderella boy.
With Gary Kaltbaum.
Comes highly recommended. You're going to feel better if you talk to him.
Okay. Catching my drift. And notice I'm not taking any victory laps on this because I don't want people losing money. I'm not patting myself on the back because, as we've told you up front, we really do not know how it plays out. In the short run, in the long run, we've had a pretty good idea because all of them have crashed. And as I've said to you, the most stunning part of this equation is they went after a stock that dropped 99%. Imagine that. Yeah, let's go after something down 99% because everything must be good. In case you don't know, logic dictates, remember Mr. Logic, that something down 99%, there's something up. So we hope you listen. And it's not just these. It was Rivian. That at 170 we were yelling at you. How Wall Street was screwing everybody, but actually doing their job. Their job is to bring it out at the highest price, and they can't help it if people are paying the price. That was almost the market cap of GM and Ford put together, even though they had no sales, and GM and Ford's had $260 billion of sales. We just told you there was an eventuality on Rivian and how much it's worth. We did it with the SPACs. Look what the SPACs did. Absolutely destroyed. And do you know there's a SPAC? I heard about it after the fact. They did this $10 SPAC, which is now called Oklo. And they ran it from 10 up to 18 5 days ago. It's down 50% in 5 days. And people want to know what happened to my money. Well, you bought a SPAC. Did you check on what the SPAC was? Well, they said it was. So Wall Street is a great place, ladies and gentlemen. It has spawned trillions of dollars of wealth with companies going public. Going back many years, whether it was Ascend Communications and Newbridge Networks, AOL in its heyday, EMC, Compaq Computer, Amazon, Yahoo was strong for a while, though they, whatever. Look at NVIDIA now. I don't even, do you know what the strongest stock of the last 20 some odd years is? Monster Beverages. Secretaries at some of these companies got a bunch of stock and are now multimillionaires. It's done a lot of great things, Wall Street, but there's also the downside of these ass clowns that will foist upon your shoulders dog crap And I should not be putting down the dog crap. It is worse. And when Goldman Sachs in the in 2000s put out some collateralized mortgage things and then shorted them because they said they were crap, nothing happened to them. I'm drummed out of the business. The rating services that rated AAA mortgage securities that shouldn't have been triple Z, and there were emails and texts between people, the rating services, saying it was a different word for crap. Not one of them was indicted for fraud or kicked out of the business. I would have been kicked out of the business. Got to be well connected. That's the downside. This short squeeze, that's the downside, though God only knows how that even occurs, ladies and gentlemen. I still don't understand all these no-sales companies being put out in the public. When I started in this business, I worked at a penny stock firm, and most of the companies that we were involved in had a couple of million in sales. But yet there are hundreds brought public with absolutely no sales. We got laughed at. These people get big. By the way, we would bring them out with $3 million market cap at IPO. They're bringing them out with $100 million market cap now, and they're being applauded with big fees, and the regulators got over our butts at the time. That's when I started in the business. So again, the downside. And don't get me started on analysts, who I think most of them mean well, but the conflict of interest in the analyst community is just the downside. So when things pop up like the GameStop, we are going to be a little bit more vociferous but saying to you in the short run, it is just so darn random. Just be careful. We've gotten a few contacts from people actually thanking us. That's good. That means you're listening. But I can promise you, if somebody who, let's say, bought GameStop at 30 and got out, and it's or let's use 50 and it's now 22 and they're thanking us, if they got out and that stock was 100 right now, they'd be F-bombing me. So we get it. And that's why we're careful with our verbiage, because it's random. And we understand emotion. We understand people's psychology because we have our own psychology that we deal with on a daily basis. And as I said to you, one of the best books to read, and you should go get it on Amazon, is The Millionaire Next Door. It talks about people that had millions that have zero, and people that made $50,000 a year and are millionaires because the way the money is treated. The Millionaire Next Door. I don't remember who the author is. You can just put it up in Google and it'll show up. Like I'm about to. The Millionaire Next Door by, come out. I can't even see. I love how they make it so small, the writing. Thomas Stanley. Go get the book. And by the way, just so you know, I don't get paid to say that. They have no idea who I am. I'm just telling you what I think. Gold uptrend, silver uptrend, China uptrend. Semis getting a little icky in here pretty quickly. NVIDIA reports Wednesday. I will tell you flat out, we sold our small position because it's too close and we didn't have enough cushion. The Dow broke above 40,000. They're sticking a little up in the air here. I'd be a little bit careful. But I will tell you that some down names, Caterpillar, gaps down, Deere, gaps down, Caterpillar recovering pretty decent, JP Morgan's acting well, United Health better, those still way off the highs, but just the Dow's 40,000. Yay. Next week will be another week. By the way, we just went from 40,000 to 37.6 to 40,000 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you, Jay Powell, for easing monetary policy. And Janet Yellen screwing us longer term by new auctions on bonds with little T-bills instead of T-bonds the way it's supposed to be because it's an election year. They're all a bunch of political hacks. They're all very good. Debt deficits and screwing the long term, knowing they'll be dead or retired when it all blows up. No, really. You don't think that's going on? Everybody's retiring. And by the way, the Dow now is up 35, let's call them 14% in 3 years, in case you were counting. Which is not great, but hey, listen, better. GameStop. I'm just looking it over and just in recognition of what our first job to do is here. Up next. Oh, I got news of the day. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
You're listening to
What are we waiting for?
Well, what are you waiting for?
1, 2, ready, go.
Action!
Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. In the news of all shapes and sizes, bodies of Israeli hostages have been found, including one by the name of Shani Louk, L-O-U-K. She was the one who was paraded semi-naked in the back of a truck on video by Hamas, raped by a bunch of them. She was found dead. Interesting. I'm not seeing any protests against Hamas. Interesting. I'm not seeing one. Rape and murder of somebody that's the same age as these students. If I met every one of these students, can't say what I'd be saying to them, which would probably just go through one ear and out the other anyhow, and that's why we go back to our old little tic-tac-toe. How do you debate somebody that applauds rape and murder of young women because they're Jewish? Hey, in the news, Did you see what happened with Scheffler today, the number one golfer in the world? You can go look it up. He was arrested. He was going to the golf course today. By the way, this has nothing to do with you and your money. And what happened was a bus hit somebody and killed somebody who was working at the golf course. And Scheffler thought the police were just security, and he went through. And I guess the police started holding on to got dragged, and they arrested him, put him in jail. They let him out without bail. You know what I think of the police. They're terrific. I'm not sure what happened, so I'm going to hold whatever. But I'm going to go on record and say that big miscommunication. I hope. Because Scheffler seems like a down-to-earth guy. Speaking of a not-so-down-to-earth guy, new video. His name used to be Puff Daddy. I think it's P. Diddy now. As you know, there's been accusations of this man of not good things. Well, there's now video in the middle of a hotel hallway beating the crap out of his girlfriend and dragging her on the floor like a dead dog. Let's see if there's any outrage on this. And you know all I think about is the guy's probably a billionaire. What kind of great things people can do when they're a billionaire philanthropically for others and this and that. Yeah, I'm going to beat the crap out of my girlfriend and drag her along the floor. If you want to go see the video, go ahead. Speaking of that, in case you don't know, and if you're reading about it, a 10-year-old Indiana boy, little precious kid, committed suicide because he was being bullied at school. It is being found out that the parents went to the school on 21 different occasions about it, and the school did absolutely nothing. And I guess they're talking about arresting kids. I don't know if they can or not, but it's just heartbreaking. Young Sheldon finale was last night, the two-part finale. Magnificent. Chuck Lorre is the greatest. 2.5 Men, which was a little bit more, whatever. But then Big Bang Theory and now Young Sheldon. God bless this guy. Him and his writing team. A+++. Had me crying for an hour last night. Just letting you know. Young Sheldon. And I'm just a big, Sheldon fan. He's terrific. The guy who attacked Paul Pelosi got 30 years in jail. And do you remember when a bunch of morons were saying, it was a setup and did not really happen? Or that, man, oh man, people are weird just because of politics. In Canada, a teen was charged $580 for using a phone in a drive-thru as he was at the window by a police officer behind him, because you're not supposed to use your phone when you're in your car, but he was in a drive-thru when he was going to his app to get his reward. What the hell is the matter with it? And by the way, the police said there's nothing I can do. This is the rules. In case you don't know, this guy Trudeau from Canada, I think he makes Biden and Bernie Sanders into conservatives. That's how bad he is. And boy, oh boy, he talks higher taxes with glee. You know how you know in trouble? When politicians tell you they got to raise taxes and they are gleeful about it. Last but not least in the news, hey, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were pictured kissing in Lake Como. Just letting you know. By the way, Lake Como, one of my favorite places. I've been there once, stayed in this place, Bellagio. Wow. And that's your news. That really didn't have anything to do with you and your money, but some things did, because we try to talk a little bit of logic here. And, put our best foot forward. And the amazing thing is what I hear people being outraged about and not outraged about, kind of depressing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still waiting for the protests on what Hamas did to 1,300 Israelis and all these hostages that were being, I think a lot of them are now dead. But it's all the Jews' fault. Remember our thought process. Any racism of any kind should be laughed at and kicked on. Everybody should be treated equal as long as we're in the rule of law. Doesn't matter race, creed, color, gender, denomination. I've seen some people say I'm a tree. Fine, go ahead. No, I'm not kidding. Did you see the story? Somebody married a tree because they said they were. Oh, you ain't bothering me. So we're always amazed at racism of any kind. And the anti-Semitism is just beyond the beyond, and we'll take on any and all comers when it comes to that. And we'll defend any other race, creed, color, denomination, or gender also against racism too. Hope you think the same way. All right, you have a great weekend. Drive carefully. When you get home, do like we do. Pretty simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Oh, it's the weekend. Yay. Knicks tonight, please. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
This has been Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum on BizTalk. To listen to past episodes or to get in contact with Gary, go to GaryK.com. That's GaryK.com.